The Raiders opened with a season win total of 8 before they went into the draft in the opening round and made the selection of Alabama offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood. The team's win total is now 7.5. I'm not so sure the Leatherwood pick is what dropped them by half a win, but it's something worth mentioning. What was the rationale behind this draft pick, which some think was a bit of a reach?
Yeah, it's interesting, guys. Thanks for having me on. But when you're talking about the Leatherwood pick, it really reminds me a lot of when the Raiders chose Darius Hayward-Bay, the receiver, in 2009 with their first pick. Basically, he was their guy. They zeroed in on him. As Mike Mayock told us during the draft, he actually was their top-rated player at any position when it came time for them to pick. So it was in their mind and in the Raiders' world, it was a choice of not only the best player available, but addressing a real and specific need coming together at one point. So they turn their nose up at all the draft nicks and the people that look at things and wonder about draft value, and they got their guy. Now, we'll find out down the road whether or not it's a good pick or not, but he was definitely their guy. They chose him because they thought that somebody behind them was going to try and trade up and get him too. So they did have a trade offer. A team called them up for the offer, and they didn't like the offer that they got, but then they also thought that team was going to trade up to try to take Leatherwood too. So again, the end of the day, they got their guy, and they still got the safety that they needed in the second round too. So a lot of fans that were ready to jump off the top of the stratosphere, they felt a lot better after that second round pick of Amori.
Yeah, Paul, those fans have usually felt good through the first couple of months of the season. It's the latter months of the season that have hurt them as Raider fans over the last few years. Let's take a look at their first 6 games of the season, and I wonder if you think they can start as quickly in 2021 as they have in years past. A very difficult Week 1 assignment against the Baltimore Ravens on Monday Night Football. Then you go to Pittsburgh, a Dolphins team that won 10 games a year ago. That Chargers team we were just talking about could be better. The Bears, who knows if Justin Fields is quarterbacking by that point. And then the Denver Broncos. Will Aaron Rodgers be their QB at that point? A lot of variables. But right now, Paul, how do you see them getting through this first 6-game stretch?
Yeah, those first 2 games are really going to tell the tale, I think, because not only do you get to open at home on Monday Night Football, which is going to have all the pomp and circumstance and the pageantry of having 65,000 fans in there, what Mark Davis has told me is going to be inaugural season 2.0, but it's a tough matchup because you don't know what the Raider defense is going to look like and what kind of a challenge Lamar Jackson is going to be for a rebuilt defense. Then you figure that after that, you have a short week. You got to go cross country against another physical team in the Steelers. Now, when they used to play in Oakland, the Raiders owned Ben Roethlisberger in Oakland. Out in Pittsburgh, it's been a little different story. So those first 2 games are really going to kind of tell how this team is going to go, where the defense is. And, oh, yeah, that rebuilt offensive line as well with Leatherwood at right tackle. It's really, it's tough to say exactly where they're going to go, but I could see them being anywhere from 3-3 to 4-2 to 2-4 after those first 6 games. Again, in my opinion, it all depends upon those first 2.
It wouldn't be Las Vegas without the announcement of a new nightclub opening. This one, however, is in the Raider end zone at Allegiant Stadium, the Wynn Field Club. Tell me, Paul, how quickly after you found out about this did you reach out to the bosses at ESPN and ask them to be able to report from there on game day?
Yeah, I think part of my pitch was, you know what, when I was in college at UNLV, I used to hang out at the Shark Club, and I might have hung out with Gerardo, Mr. Rico Suave himself one night at the Shark Club. I can't confirm or deny that, but if they want me to do some reports from there, I'll do it. And I got to go to my notes here for this because it's pretty amazing, this club. It's almost 11,000 square feet from one side of the end zone to the other. Bottle service, 42 TVs, a 9 by 35 foot LED screen, 2 DJ booths, and a 45,000 watt sound system in there as well. So you wonder how many people are going to be able to get in there and watch the game. I've had a lot of fans ask me, well, how much does it cost to get in there? How do we get in there? Basically, the thought process is if you got to ask, you can't afford it. So just sit back and wait until Wynn announces how to get in the club.
Oh, sorry, Paul. I was just daydreaming about being in the end zone there during Week 12. But you and we could have had some fun back in the day if I was at UNLV as well, it sounds like. We'll wrap up with this, Paul. In Vegas, the market says the win total, as Joe alluded to earlier, for the season, 7.5. Ultimately, we kind of went through that first 6-game stretch. After all 17 are played, Raiders going over or under 7.5 wins this season.
You know what? With an extra game on the schedule this year and the fact that since John Gruden's gotten back, they've improved from 4 wins to 7 wins to 8, I'm going to go ahead and take the over simply because they seem to be on that trajectory, right? And and you can't really go wrong there. 8-9 is not necessarily it's a losing season, but the over there sounds pretty good. I think once they get through that early rush of the season, and it's kind of a tough stretch at the end there too, where 4 of their last 6 games are against playoff teams from a year ago, plus 2 divisional foes. The beginning and the end, they really got to make their money there in the middle of the season.
Paul Gutierrez covers the Raiders for ESPN. Thank you so much for your time, Paul. We appreciate it.
Guys, thanks for having me.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming, sports, and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.